Okay, all right. We made it to the end of the chapter. There's a lot of stuff going on here, a lot of algebra. I hope you're hanging in there. As I write right here, this chapter ends with a bang because we're actually going to use the algebra that we've been studying to solve problems. That doesn't sound or bode well, and if you think that, you've been in algebra classes before, haven't you? What I mean by that is we're going to be challenged here at the very end because solving equations, not terrible, but guess what? We've got some applications or word problems. There's not a lot of them. It's not like a huge amount, but I'm just going to break it up into different kinds. And I'm going to break this video up in this chapter up in two videos also, part A and part B. The first part is how to solve equations, and the second part is going to be, let's look at the four applications. So we're almost there. So, solving quadratic equations by factoring. First of all, what the heck is a quadratic equation? It looks like this. That is to say, a quadratic equation has a squared term to it. That's something new. If you're in beginning algebra, the first time you see that, you're going, oh my goodness, what do we do with that? Well, we still try to find the x value that satisfies it. Seeing as how this is algebra 2, we might have seen this before. I tell my students in the past, it's ZFS. That is to say, get 0 on one side, factor the other side, and then set each factor equal to 0 to solve the equation. One other way to look at it is divide and conquer. So what we have here, and I'm going to write this to the side also, is we have an equation that says x squared minus 2x minus 3 is 0. What we do, as you can see at this stage, is we factor this thing, and there's a reason for it. So to factor that, we can notice that it starts xx because of that lead x squared term. Beautiful. And then we look at the factors of minus 3, minus 1 times 3, 1 times minus 3, to pick the one that adds up to negative 2. And it's this winner right there. So the numbers are going to be plus 1 and minus 3. Okay, what do we do with that information? Well, here's the thing. Down here at this part of the notes, I'm pointing at this guy right here. It's time for the zero property. If things are multiplied together, if a number times another number is equal to 0, that implies either one of the numbers is equal to 0, or even both. There's no way, in other words, to multiply and get 0 without somebody being 0, okay? And I do this example on the board with students. I go, first person who tells me the answer to this guy wins. So I start writing 7 times negative 5 times 3/4 times 2.4 times negative 1/2 times 0 times 6. And sooner or later someone goes 0, and you go, why? Why would you say such a thing? And they say, well, I happen to know that whenever I multiply by 0, I get 0. Okay, so back to the problem then. I have something times something else is equal to 0. So that means either this something is 0 or this something is 0. That's the zero property to the rescue in this problem. So in other words, look at it another way. In order to make this equation equal 0, what x value can I put into the first parentheses to make the first factor 0? Answer, if you solve this, minus 1, that's it. X is negative 1. If I put in a negative 1, let me put it up here again to see it. X plus 1 and x minus 3 is 0. If I put negative 1 here and here, I don't really care about that one, but this first parentheses turns to 0. Okay. The other guy, well, add 3 down here, add 3. I'm just explaining it to you. And we get another number, another answer, x equals 3. Again, if I take 3 and plug it in here, who cares about on the left, but over here, you get 0. So that's what I mean by divide and conquer. You take a quadratic, you split it up into factors, you set the factors equal to 0, and you solve. And that's the essence of get 0 on one side, factor the other side, set the factors equal to 0, and solve. Okay, so it's a process, just like everything else that we're studying in here. All right, so here we have, and more in the notes, I'm talking more about what does 0 mean. So these notes are here for you. You just get 0 on one side. You'll see why in a second. Then you factor. We know about that. And then we solve like we just did. All right. So those are some good notes for you guys to look at. And pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it. As long as we can factor, we're in great shape. So the end of this video is really us looking at these three problems. Okay? So we are going to do the following. We are going to solve these guys one at a time. If you want to jump ahead, pause the video, go right ahead and do it. Sorry. So we're going to go after this guy. Number 1, get 0 on one side. Z, check. Okay. Number 2, we got a factor. Okay, here we go. Let's factor this thing. You notice how it starts with x squared? That means xx, one of the easier types. But look, now we got to bust up. If you know it, you know it. But we have to bust up minus 12 into factors. Minus 1 times 12. 1 times minus 12. Minus 2 times 6, etc. And how about 3 and 4? That's the one, isn't it? 3 and 4. Minus 3 times 4. And 3 times minus 4. What are we looking for? We are looking for the winner chicken dinner that adds up to, see what I'm circling there? It has to be 1. This is the one right there. That's the winner. So the numbers are minus 3 and plus 4. In a previous section, section 5, you'd be done. But on a quadratic equation situation, you're almost done. See, now you can take these factors and set them equal to 0 and solve. See, we're using the 0 property. If these two multiply to make 0, then somebody is 0. Which one is it? And the answer is, I don't know, just list them all. And that's what you're doing when you're solving. You're finding all the numbers that cause the 0. Okay? So in this case, it looks like 3 is a winner. And over here, what about negative 4? We've done it. This thing is solved. So the two answers are 3 and negative 4. If ever you think we're lying or to you or whatever, you can always check, by the way. If you want to check an answer, say, let's check x is 3, you plug in. Here's the equation up here. So plugging in square plus a thing again and minus 12 is 0. I know I'm going kind of fast, huh? It's okay, you can pause it. What you do is you plug in 3, or if you wanted to check negative 4, you plug in negative 4. What you're going to find, watch this, is that it works, doesn't it? Doesn't that make 0? Winner. Okay. So all of that is a very quick way to show how this is done. 0 on one side is important because we're using the 0 property. Factor means divide it, and then solve means conquer each one of those guys. And then if you want, you can check. Once in a while, it might be a good idea to do so. We got 2 more to do. Okay, so we did factor, and I didn't write this down. Then we solved it. Okay. Now on this one, we got to get 0 on one side. We don't have it. So what do we do? Well, we add a, subtract 2. Is there an echo in here? I think so. On the left-hand side, you're left with 3a squared plus a minus 2 is 0. Check. We got 0. So in other words, if you don't have everything, if you have terms on both sides, and it's a quadratic equation, that is to say you got an x squared, get everything on one side, and now step 2, let's factor. All right, so this guy's going to factor. It's one of those harder ones where you've got a 3 in front. That means you got to look at the factors of 3, 1 times 3, and negative 2. 1 times negative 2, negative 1 times 2, and play spaghetti. All right, so I'm trying to get a 1 in the middle right there. Which one does it for me? I'm still looking. If I go this way, it's going to give me a negative 1. Do you see that? It's going to be negative 3 and 2. I need a positive 1, so that's not the way to do it. And I guess we have to switch the signs. Watch, watch. Okay, how about this 1 with this 3? That's 3. And this -2 with that one, that's minus, yeah, that's the winner. Okay, I'm running out of room on this one. I'm going to have to borrow some room from this actually. This is actually a pretty easy assignment there. Okay, so what we have is the winner. We have to go A and 3A. And 3 multiplies, as you can see right there, with 1. So I have to put it on the other side. And he's a +1. And A, the 1A, multiplies with -2. All right. It is factored. So we've done that. And now S. We got to solve each one. We separate and solve. So here we go. We have A plus 1 is equal to 0. 3A minus 2 is equal to 0. Throw the A to the other side as a minus, the 1 to the other side as a -1. There's a solution. Apparently, if you plug in -1, it works. In this case, it's 2 steps. 3A, throw the 2 over, divide by 3, and you get 2/3. So those are your 2 solutions on a pretty challenging problem. That's smack dab in the middle of the homework right there, that guy. And they might have 1 or 2 that are harder in my math lab. Let me know. Email me and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, we got one more before we end this particular lesson. Okay, we did that. So 0. Let's throw the 16 over. 25x squared minus 16 is 0. We did that. Factor. You know what? This is 5x times 5x minus 4 times 4. You know what I'm going for, right? Difference of squares. We've got 5x and 4. 5x and 4. Remember that stuff? So we go plus and minus. Okay. So then it's factored. And finally set each one equal to 0. So we go 5x plus 4. Looks like I need more room. Okay. Equal to 0. And 5x minus 4 equal to 0. Throw the 4 over. -4. Divide by 5. -4 over 5. There's 1. Throw the -4 over. +4. Divide by 5. There is the other answer. This is how it's done. This is how it's done. I'd love for you guys to all practice this and get, not this fast, of course, but some of you might be faster, but really just work on this to where this is routine. And that's the end of video number 1. What do you think about them apples?